We are go for liftoff in T-minus 30.
Hit the record button.
Gosh, that's swell.
It's a Lowe's Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to another episode of Untitled Blog Talk Radio, and today I have a special guest who I didn't expect to have on my show this early in the project because, anyways, long story short, Gordon Matheson is on the line, right? Did I say that correct?
Yes, sir. Gordon Matheson.
Okay. Well, welcome to Untitled Blog Talk Radio. And, this was a little unexpected because we were talking earlier, and I decided to, why not just have a show, because Gordon and myself were involved with the Hollywood Fringe Festival this year, and as you guys know, it's July, and it didn't happen, and we don't know when it's going to happen, and hopefully anything can happen anymore, but we'll see. We just have to keep our fingers crossed to see our projects get to the stage eventually, because I myself don't like to be virtual anything. I like to have the presence of the real audience, and the reaction of the audience is different than any Zoom meeting or any virtual production, in my opinion. And Gordon has a project called No Matter What. And why don't you start telling us about your project?
NoMatterWhat.net. I've got a website going. I've got a Facebook page, an Instagram, all these things that I was ignoring. But I was going to do the Fringe Fest last year, but I chickened out because I realized I wasn't ready for prime time. I didn't know anybody. I was a new cat on the scene because I moved out here from Worcester, Massachusetts 3.5 years ago. So I thought it best to just learn the ropes and pay attention. So I volunteered with a wonderful man named Matt Quinn, who took me under his wing, showed me how to show people where the toilets are and be a house manager but all in all, I get to see 52 shows last year, so I paid attention. And I met wonderful people like you, Victor, and some other people, and so I chickened out. But why was I doing it to begin with? I really want to tell you about that. Mm-hmm. I was out in Massachusetts, and one of my favorite musicals was Rent. And the reason I loved it is just because I identified so well with that eclectic bohemia. And, I have a bit of drugs in my history. I just recently celebrated 23 years without anything in recovery, 23 years, which is a great start. But I always identified with that musical Rent, and I just loved the way that it made me feel inspired after seeing it live. And yeah, I watched the film, and that's nice too, but I loved the musical. And it was written by Jonathan Larson. I know a lot of you know this, that he died at the age of 30-something there the night before it went on Broadway, or off Broadway. But he passed away, and he's a hero to me. So I came out here, and I was a computer guy, and I was burnt out on computers. So I wasn't going to do computers out here in California. I moved out here from Massachusetts to be near my daughter, and 2 months after I got here, my daughter's husband thought it would be a great idea to move to Texas. So my daughter, being the wonderful woman that she is, followed her husband out to Dallas, Texas, and I'm out here in California now. But I was driving Lyft and Uber, and I picked up this 92-year-old man in Santa Monica. 92. I'm like, wow, 92. What's the meaning of life? he says, I'm just trying to stay alive. So I'm trying, he wants to go downtown. So I'm going from Santa Monica to downtown. I love Lyft and Uber driving because you get out, you meet people. Doing computers, I can make 5 times that amount on an hourly basis, but it was just sucking my soul dry. So this 92-year-old man, I'm like, 92, what's the meaning of life? He says, I'm just trying to stay alive. And then I'm driving, and I'm like, all right, fair enough. So then, it's like 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm on the 10, there's a healthy traffic there. And I said, well, listen, if you had it to do over again, what would you do? He said he'd be a writer. And I'm like, oh, that's cool, because I'm trying to figure out what the heck I'm going to do. I'm only 50-something. I'm too young to retire, but too old to, whatever. So he said he'd be a writer. I'm like, that's cool. He said, well, what would you like to do? 92-year-old man. And I said, I'd like to write a rock musical about spiritual principles. Some of the ones that influenced me were like Godspell, I saw when I was young, Rocky Horror Picture Show. Definitely the rock opera Tommy. I remember being 14 at the movie theater seeing rock opera Tommy, and that blew me away. So, it's kind of been in my whatever. And Jesus Christ Superstar. My mom brought me to see Grease in New York when I was a kid. Godspell, I said that. But I loved Rent. And I saw it before I knew I had the virus, and then after I knew I had the virus. So I found that out in 2002. But it means a lot to me, and I used to sit there and cry, but like a healthy, healing cry. And I would leave Rent just feeling inspired. And I have some other stories about that I won't go down. It's a rabbit hole. But I'm bringing this 92-year-old man downtown, and so I tell him I'd like to write a rock musical about spiritual principles. And then he laughs. He chuckles at my dream. And I'm like, why are you laughing? He says, I only know 2 people who are successful at writing musicals. And I'm thinking, I know a lot more than 2, but who do you got? He said, Lin-Manuel Miranda. How appropriate today that we're doing this. Lin-Manuel Miranda. I don't believe in miracles and coincidences. I depend on them, by the way. I'm like, wow, you're 92. You know how to get a lift, and you know about Hamilton. I'm impressed. I said, but you said you only knew 2 people. Who was the other one? He said, my son. I said, your son? What did your son write? And he said, Rent. And that is a huge coincidence. I'm in recovery, and humility's a big thing, and going and seeking out attention and saying, hey, look at me, I'm doing this, self-promotion, all that. It just goes the other direction on some of the stuff that I try to practice. But I took this as a sign from the universe, and this was like 2.5 years ago. So I've been working on this musical for 2.5 years. I have one of the greatest directors out here, musical theater directors, that I believe is out here in Hollywood. His name is Stephen Vlasic. And I have a wonderful music director who's putting it together. His name's Robert Hall. I have a costume designer, and this obviously this Fringe. I was all set to do it in June, and there's 3 men, 3 women. But you want to interject?
No, but I've heard this story before. You told me this story, but every time I pick something different, that it's interesting to hear it again now, and the meaning that it has to be humble, because by now we would have thought, of course we would have it done and it would have been great, but something stopped us from going forward, and I didn't even know why, right? Like you, we were like, well, we're ready to go. We're ready to go in January. We're ready to go, like we had it all done. But now all these events happen. Yeah, you were there. We had a workshop together with Matt Ricci and in the studio. So, but there was a reason why. Was that? Yeah, Matt Ritchie. He's my director. But basically, to the point, to what I was getting to, is that humility is basically, because there were things that I didn't want to talk about in my own show that were very, very kind of, very personal, that I never shared before on stage, or never before shared at all to anybody.
The key would be transparency. Yeah, transparency.
Exactly. And so, yeah, this few months, what has it been? 3 months now. It's just been a roller coaster, and actually, it has been fruitful, even though it seems like the world stopped for a second, or for a few months now. There's been a lot of things that have happened in the last, and of course, with everything else that's going on in the world, not only in the U.S., it just made me more humble. It made me realize that we're not alone in the universe. We're in this world. There's a world pandemic. There's a crisis. There's a spiritual crisis, especially nowadays. So that's what I gather. What you were saying, that there's still more work to be done in the spiritual world, in the mental health world, and the addiction talk, because it's shameful to talk about the things that I have to talk about as well. But like you say, you have to be transparent, because if you're not transparent, people will not relate to what you want to present. And so, and your stories is very, very personal. I heard the story. So tell us about a little bit of, your journey to No Matter What.
All right. Actually, my No Matter What feeds on what's going on today, because my No Matter What is about going through just shit and not hurting yourself no matter what. My musical's about recovering from self-destructive behavior patterns using spiritual principles like hope, faith, perseverance. I mean, what we got going on right now in the country, the world, besides the health problems, it's just we have a bit of a soul sickness on both sides of the aisle. We're trying to fix some sickness, which is based in self-centeredness, self-righteousness. There's closed-minded going on. There's a whole bunch of intolerance. Both sides intolerant of the other, selfishness. But forget about just the core of the disease that's going on in our country. It's like, why are we even having sides? I mean, one of my favorite sayings in my recovery program is diversity is our strength. So rather than just sitting with the people that look like us, think like us, and talk like us, there's no growth there. But when you're able to get outside yourself, be open-minded, listen to another opinion, but what we got going on right now, and it's understandable, it's just everyone's intoxicated with emotions. Why is it when people know I've had too much to drink, maybe I shouldn't be talking about A, B, and C? You get it then, but right now we're all intoxicated with emotions. So should we really be having some of these discussions? Let's sober up a little bit and then come back to the table. But I was scared when you asked me to come on here, because I can be opinionated, but I like my grandfather was a minister, a congregational minister, and he taught me a lot about my faith as it exists now. But I would only say I've been practicing my faith for like 40 years, and definitely not perfect. So I've been practicing my faith for 40 years. I've been practicing recovery for 23. And what I'm learning, my grandfather taught me. He said, Gordy, the Bible is the Word of God, but it's not the words of God, because God continues to speak to us today. And I'm sorry for your listeners who may get offended by the word God, but there's this thing that I love that I printed out. There's the 13 major religions of the world. the 13 major religions. And if you think of, the major religions of the world, there's like 13 of them. Buddhism and all the rest, and Confucius. I can't even say half of them, but but all the different religions of the world, they all have one thing in common. They all believe that in the golden rule, treat others the way you want to be treated. They all just say it differently. So I don't believe there's any one religion that's got a monopoly on spiritual truths or spiritual principles. But I think that's what we really need in society today. What we're trying to do is we're trying to fix some sickness and illness by picking sides, like either sit on this side or that side. It's trying to like build a house with just a hammer and a screwdriver. No, we need a lot of other tools. So I just think this whole duality, are you black, white, Republican, Democrat, believer or atheist? It's just picking these teams. My grandfather started this movement back east called the Economical Movement, where he got together with other members of other faiths and got together, and rather than argue with one another on the dogma that separated them, they concentrated on the spiritual dogma that connected them, the things that they all agreed on. And I think that's beautiful. And I'm going to stick to my musical because I don't want to get political in any way, shape, or form, but this is what I'm trying to do, is speak to self-destructive behaviors. I mean, what happens is, a lot of people, they go through trauma as a youngster, even as adults. And then what do they do to fix that trauma? If you get caught up in drinking or drugs or cutting yourself or any kind of self-destruction, you hurt yourself so that you can take back that control. But no matter what you go through, you don't have to, and you can get through it without hurting yourself. And the key is like community and finding some other people who have been through things twice as bad as you and didn't find it necessary to hurt themselves. And if you listen to their stories based in faith and hope and love, there's a whole bunch of spiritual principles there that this is the story that I'm telling in No Matter What. If you go to nomatterwhat.net, there's a summary of the play. There's a list of the characters, and there's also resources for people that are caught up in self-destruction or loved ones. Yes. So if you're struggling with drugs,
I haven't had a chance to look at the website myself, but because my computer is apparently has a virus, I don't know. But I will like to invite people to go to the website, of course, because the story that he's going to tell is different stories of different people going through different things, trials and tribulations, and death and loss and addiction and self-harm and everything, right? But it doesn't. I don't think talking about those things is negative or is triggering.
No,
it might be triggering, but I think that after that darkness, after the everything you've been through, and a lot of people that suffer through addiction, and not only that, but the families of those that are in addiction, deep in addiction, like my parents, go through. I think there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, as cliche as that sounds, but that's what this is, right? This is a show, and this is life. And there's no reason to be frightened to speak your mind. That's what I hate. All this censoring that's going on, even on this platform, YouTube or social media in general, and the news. God, that's the worst it's ever been. But it hasn't been. I think it's now there's more transparency going on. But a lot of that is being trumbled by the powers that be, and they don't want you to see this direction, they look at this direction, and it's like, no, just tell me what it is. Just tell me the truth. Just, give it to me like it is. I don't want to, guess at this point. What's the truth of what, whether to wear a mask or not, or whether to wear a condom or not, or whether to, be in the riots or not be in the riots, or be in the protests or whatever, or which hashtag is now politically correct to say. It's just nuts. It's just nuts. And it's just putting everybody through trauma. I mean, I went through a lot of things in a couple of months that I was crying. I was like literally crying because it's exhausting to hear what's happening, and you don't want to hear it anymore, but then you have to because it's still happening, right?
And you don't have to watch television. I don't watch TV. I'm a very poor consumer of media.
Good for you.
Can I just mention that Watt? That my Watt, no matter what, it's spelled WATT.
Oh, yeah.
Just in case people are looking that up. And that's important.
What's the reason why? What is the reason why? What's the reason? Is that a question? Is that a right way to ask the question? So why do you name it no matter what with WATT?
I'm glad you asked. Because as I was trying, the light bulb, which is on the T-shirts, there's also T-shirts available. I don't know if I can plug T-shirts, but there's T-shirts available on the website with the light bulb. But throughout the play, one of the characters is a light bulb, and the light bulb represents your personal spirituality, whatever that is. But usually when people come into like recovery, they're already broken and damaged, and they don't want to hear the word God, a lot of people. And, all right, we're not going to use that word, but you got to find something outside of yourself, even if it's love. Love is bigger than us. It lasts longer than us. It was here before. It'll be after. So that light bulb represents your higher power, your gut, whatever it is outside of yourself. And how do you measure light bulbs? In terms, the energy that comes out of it is Watt. WATT. That's how you measure the light bulb, the energy of a light bulb. And it's funny because when people first come into any kind of recovery from self-destructive behavior, there is no light. There's no hope. There's no future. It's just darkness. And so as you start to spark up, what happens is us as human beings, we get lit inside with hope and faith and love and courage, and we start perseverance, and we start lighting other people around us in our lives. So going off on like a tangent, and I hope I don't come across as self-righteous on this, but I've spent a good amount of time in my life trying to rush after what the meaning of life is, and I believe what is the meaning of life. WATT is the meaning of life. Getting a hold of that energy, that good energy, that hope, love, and faith, and lighting somebody else's life with that power and that light. Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's why.
And it's,
we're
going to try to...
That which doesn't kill us makes us stronger, Victor. This sucks what we're going through, but I believe when we get to the other side, we're going to be stronger. We're going to be a stronger country. We're going to be a stronger theater community. I'm excited. Yeah, I told you.
It is exciting. It is exciting to see, because we're witnessing a lot of things, right? And that's what, for those people that believe in God and those who don't, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But that's what they were talking about in the Revelation. It's like this chaos, these signs that are going on, and these revelations that are happening. They have a purpose, and it hurts. And it hurts to hear this, and it hurts to know your idols, crumbling down because you put them in a pedestal, and you should never put anybody in a pedestal. And
absolutely,
when they come down really strong, and they hurt you because, I'm talking about Tom Hanks or Ellen DeGeneres or Obama or whoever. I don't know who's looking up to Trump anymore, but it comes down to don't put anybody up in a pedestal. They don't deserve it.
No.
Nobody but God needs to be on that pedestal. So the moment that you do put all your energy to one person or all your energy to actors who are just acting, and they reveal themselves or they reveal things that you would never think they're involved, it hurts. It hurts because you believe in them since I was growing up. I've been watching movies, I've been watching theater,
and it hurts them too, Victor. It hurts them too, because no human being has to be on a pedestal, because at the end it hurts. Pride comes before a fall. You're going to hurt yourself no matter how high up you are. But it's just silly. One of the best things to do in these times is to, number one, choose your battles wisely and to live today like it's the last day. If today was the last day of your life, how important is that argument that you got in that hamster wheel in your head? How important is that? That resentment you have against your neighbor. How important is it if you were going to die tomorrow? It isn't. So imagine if everyone in this country developed a less self-centered, self-serving, self-seeking position and just started loving the hell out of their neighbor and the person next to them, and not just loving the people who love you back, but loving the people that are pissing you off. Can I say that word? Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, that's fine. I use it. I use that word anyway. But yeah, you have a point because I kind of been walking on eggshells, right, throughout my life, basically, to the point where I don't want to offend anybody, or is this gonna hurt her feelings? Is this going to hurt my mom because I'm gonna say my story? Or maybe you are going to talk about your addiction, which has, I'm sure, ramifications to where you hurt people along the way, or you hurt yourself along the way, and who am I going to offend, And so I think we have to let that ego go. Let it go, like they say in the movie.
I do believe, Victor, that we got to say what needs to be said, but then we leave the results in our higher power's hand. But sometimes things need to be said. But then what happens with after that? Oh, you didn't hear me? Let me say it louder. Let me say it with a baseball bat. No, you say what needs to be said, and then you leave the results to God.
Yeah, right. Or with, what do you call it, with rubber bullets, or you don't want to, hear me? Okay,
No.
let me tear gas you and do force. Use my force, use physical force, and that's unbelievable what I've seen, what I've witnessed.
I had a guy who had road rage really bad, and he came to me because, I kind of sponsor people. I'm also kind of a pastor. I married 12 couples, but, I did it online. But I performed 12 marriages or whatever that is. In any event, this guy came to me with road rage. And so I said, here, I'm going to give you this magic wand. And I gave him a little stick. And I said, I want you to bring this in your car. And whenever you see somebody driving the way that you think they shouldn't be driving, I want you to wave this. And then I want you to tell yourself you just fixed them for the rest of your life. And so how much better is your life? And so you just try that one day. Just wave a magic wand at all the people that drive like idiots. And you're never going to see them again, so you'll never know. But just tell yourself you fixed them and just see how pointless it is. You can't change people,
Right.
places, and things. That's one of the lessons I learned.
Well, and then you and I have both been driving for Uber and Lyft, so we know going into it, you think you know how to be a safe driver and how to navigate through the city of LA, but then you realize you don't. I didn't know. I've been living here since '92, and I had no idea where I was half the time. And the people that I would meet along the way, like your encounter with what was his name, by the way?
For which?
The father of the writer of the Rent shop.
Oh, Jonathan Larson's father. Jonathan Larson's father.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
huge.
you don't never know.
I mean,
You never know who you're going to meet. You never know. Right. But my point is, you never know what you're going to learn along the way, and the things that you will encounter along the way, and the people that drive like crazy in LA every day. Luckily, I'm not doing the driving anymore, but yeah, we have to be more compassionate. We have to be more. Yeah, I had road rage before. I don't know. I don't know if it's a common thing, but I had to learn how to manage my anger, especially if I have a passenger in the back seat or sometimes in the front seat.
That'll get you in trouble. How about this? 23 years of no mind or mood altering substances. I've been terminated 3 times in the year that I was doing rideshare for driving under the influence. So for drunk driving, they terminated me 3 times, and I haven't had a drink since 1996.
Wow.
90.
Congratulations,
yeah.
By the way. I know that's
well, yeah. Thank you. They didn't want to pay. They didn't want to pay the $8, or maybe they just thought I was so weird that I naturally looked drunk. I don't know.
But yeah, I like to actually invite you and Stephen for your cast. I don't know if you have anybody in your cast yet. Have you started rehearsing for your show, or is this still up in the air?
Oh, this is the great thing. See, that which doesn't kill us makes us stronger. I believe that. And like lost dreams awaken, new possibilities arise. This is like, I'm all excited because I hadn't looked at animation in like 10 years. I'm a computer geek. And I looked at it, during this pandemic, and I'm like, oh, we could do that. So have a little bit of animated, I don't think I'm telling anything out of school here, but have a little bit of animation supporting the marketing efforts until we get to the live stage. But this week, sometime in this month, we're actually performing. We have a male singer and a female singer. I'm afraid to throw their names under the bus, but boy, they are good. They're going to do a duet. There's a song I have called Superman, and it's where a young woman who's early in recovery sees a young man, and she thinks that a relationship's going to make her all better. And the song is called Superman. And we all know that people, places, and things aren't going to fix us or make us any better. But this song, we were doing a music video. I think I can say one of the famous videographers from Fringe Fest has also agreed to do the videoing. So, yeah, Steve Vlasic is putting that together. We have all the costumes picked out for the characters. This is great. So I'm pretty excited. So there will be a music video, I expect, this month.
Okay. So whatever you have going on, whatever you have going on will be on whoever's listening to this podcast is going to be on YouTube. Whatever you have is going to be below. So whoever's listening to this right now can go below and check your website. Yeah, yes. I'll put that on below. But yeah, I'd like to extend the invitation for you, your cast, your director, anybody in the future. We hope, we can only hope now. We can't even plan ahead 6 months from now, but we'll see what happens. We're still gonna be creating. That's all we can do at this point. And stay safe and stay indoors, or wear your mask, or whatever. Try safe, right? But yeah, I enjoyed talking to you, Gordon.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm all excited now. I was so afraid.
Okay. I don't know what you were afraid.
Huh? Well,
I have people.
Everybody's drunk right now. Everybody's drunk with, and it's like you need to be careful because you can just say something, and when people are intoxicated with emotion, some people just hear what they want to hear, and but my heart right now is my target audience is people who are indulging in self-destructive behavior patterns. I'm painting with a broad brush, but my heart goes out to them. And I don't know about anybody else. I can't speak for anybody else. But the last thing I need is additional enemies in my life because of a couple of words I said. I just hope they see the motive in my heart is to possibly help some people with this musical, and I hope it gets the traction and additional talent behind it necessary to pull this off so that it can be inspiring and make people cry and be inspired like I've been the times that I've cried and been inspired by other musicals. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, you mentioned one of my favorite musicals. This is Christ Superstars is my number one. Rent is not nowhere near my number one, but I respect your opinion.
I didn't say it was my number one, but I mean, you got to also maybe if you I had a little but more identification. I mean, God, Jesus Christ Superstar, you can't go and see that every day either.
No.
But,
every time I see it, I have to cry. Just like today, I was talking.
Let yourself go. Just let it go, because as hard as life can be, nothing's worth hurting ourselves more. There's enough pain in our lives. Let's get out of that self-centered world. Let's get out. Let's help somebody out. Let's get not only freedom from self-destruction, but freedom from a self-centered life by reaching out and helping somebody next to you that needs some help. There, yeah. Little preachy, huh? Yeah.
That's fine.
I wrote down in the dogma for the musical that it can't be preachy and it can't be forced. But I'll tell you, the more that this music is getting worked on, I'm pumped. I think this is an awesome musical, and I plan on spending a lot more time on it. I mean, just really. It took 7 years to do Hamilton, by the way, And I mean, it's great that came out today. 7 years.
I don't know if you know, but it's available on Disney Plus today.
Exactly. Yeah, I know that. I posted on Pantages' Instagram because they're like, who's going to stay up until midnight and watch it? I said, no, I'm probably going to watch it 3:30 on a Saturday afternoon so I can be well rested.
Yeah, because I had, of course, that in my mind. It's next time I go to New York, but coming up with $800 for a ticket is kind of outrageous. Yeah. Or maybe that's probably the nosebleeder seats. Because
wow. I'm hoping to bring my musical into detoxes, so there won't be $800 tickets in there.
Yeah, it will probably be $10 to $15, right? In that range.
I don't know. I'm hoping that small troops can put it on. Just to inspire people. I remember being young in 1980. Part of my faith, my spiritual awakening came from seeing a couple of Godspell presentations at local churches. They actually used it to proselytize, and it was great. They called it a ministry, and I'm not trying to proselytize, but if anybody's about ready to kill themselves, I certainly want to see them get some help. So. Yes. Well, and then there's a telephone call. You know what I'm saying? I always say this. Like, if you have a half an hour to talk to somebody, give your time if you can. Now with the pandemic, of course, it's even more difficult. But I think more people are, they're so empty. They don't find anything
feeling on social media, and I guess that's the way it's going nowadays, where it's kind of rude to be calling somebody, or it's kind of rude to be interrupting anybody on the busy day that they have quarantining themselves to talk. It's just, it doesn't take much, you know?
Sad.
It is.
But we're going to get through this, no matter what.
We will. No matter what, exactly. Which actually
no matter what.
Brings me to the point.
What is the meaning of life?
It brings me to the point that we're almost out of time. I must wrap it up. But I do, again, Gordon, want to thank you, and hopefully, we can meet in person and have, another discussion.
I'd love to. You're a great man, and I think you've got an awesome hit on your hands with the Mother Trials. I can't wait to see that come out. That's going to be awesome. And then you got Matt Ritchie on your team. Are you kidding me? Come on. That's awesome.
That's for the plug. I'll give you my $20. I'll Venmo the $20 to you. Thank you.
Keep up with that transparency. That's going to be so helpful in helping others. That's how I finally looked at it, is if my transparency helps somebody else. I mean, I shared some pretty personal information, but it's, you're as sick as your secrets. So if I don't have any secrets, then how can you gossip about me? You can't, really. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. But it was a great time. Thank you for the opportunity, Victor.
And I want to thank Gordon once again. I really apologize for the technical difficulties at the end of the show. My AirPods went boop, boop, boop. But I do, again, want to reinforce that I will be having more interviews with Hollywood Fringe Festival actors, producers, directors, and such. But, when it's time. But I still, if you want to check it out, the website, again, Gordon gave it to you 4 times or 5. I'll give it to you again. It's nomatterwhat.net. And any other information that is pertaining to his show or his social media, I will post it below. So once again, guys, you didn't see this coming, just like I didn't see this coming today. So happy 4th. Enjoy Hamilton, which is, I heard, almost 3 hours long. I'll probably, I'll check it out and maybe give it a review. I've never seen it, so maybe that will be the next one, right? All right. Have a good day, evening, night, morning, whenever it is.
We are go for liftoff in T-minus 30.
Hit the record button.
Gosh, that's swell.
Well, I didn't see that coming.